A little real estate market update now. I'm joined by local realtor Jessica Stoner. How are you doing today?
Great, thank you.
What's going on with the Canmore market right now? What are you seeing?
In 2024, we had an unusual real estate situation in Canmore where we actually saw lower activity. And that's not typical in Canmore. We usually have a fairly buoyant market, but yeah, we saw a bit of a slowdown.
Do you attribute that to anything?
It is based on the interest rates, which again is not typical in Canmore real estate. But we had a lot of interest rate increases leading up to 2024. And then we started seeing interest rate cuts. We assumed when we started seeing these cuts that we would have a big burst of activity, and the opposite happened.
Really?
So we had buyers who said, oh, hey, they're starting to cut interest rates and more is expected. So they slowed down and they waited for these additional cuts.
I mean, there was another recent half-point cut. Is that the tipping point that's going to sort of change things? I don't know. I mean, it's too soon to tell maybe.
We definitely expect the cut to be the tipping point.
Okay.
And we do expect to start seeing increased activity at the end of 2024. If it's still a bit slow, I would say early 2025 is when we'll start seeing more activity.
I don't know if it's easy to quantify this, but like, for example, my ex lives in a fourplex right now, and one of the units in there is selling for close to $1 million. I mean, This was a place that probably at one point in time was affordable to the average family. And where's the tipping point there when a lot of these units that were once a little bit more attainable are no longer so, and we don't have a lot of inventory that is for the average sort of middle-class family, you know what I mean?
I don't think we're going to see a reversal of home prices in any significant way. We have a very finite footprint in Canmore. We have an already determined amount of future development, and it's not going to be enough development to meet the demand.
In your opinion, is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market?
Oddly, it is a balanced market.
Okay.
So last year, even though we had a slowdown, prices increased by about 10%. That's the market as a whole.
Right.
Not everyone's home has increased by that amount. But for sellers, their investment is doing well. For buyers, they have this unique opportunity right now where properties are on the market for longer. They have more inventory to choose from, and they have less pressure from both a time standpoint as well as a competitive standpoint. So It's a good market for both buyers and sellers.
What's your crystal ball saying for the future of real estate here in the next little while?
Well, as I was saying, we do think that we're going to start seeing more buyers activity near the end of this year, heading into the next year. When we're looking long term, we have a lot of future retirees buying right now. So we have a lot of vacation homes being purchased, but they will be full-time homes in the next 5 years, 10 years, and heading into the future.
Yeah, that's good to know. There's certainly some political regulations at all three levels of government that might be affecting home prices right now. Let's start with the municipal one. We've got this new non-permanent resident tax that the town of Canmore is working on implementing. There's also the phasing out of the tourist home designation. Has that affected the market at all, or do you see those affecting the market right now?
It's too early to tell if it will affect the market. Our initial response from any owners we've spoken with seems unlikely.
Okay.
Any owner of a tourist home right now, there's been no indication they're actually going to give up the tourist home designation to make it residential. It's not in most owners' favor to do so. Simply, the market values of tourist homes tend to be higher than an equal home that's a residential.
Right, so they pay the extra tax.
They will pay the extra tax to keep the tourist home designation. For the non-permanent resident tax, though we've heard from a lot of owners that are not happy about it, we have not heard any owner who is willing to give up their home because of this tax. So they are willing to pay the higher tax to keep their home. Most of the time, as I said, these vacation homes are intended to be a retirement home.
Right.
So, they have longer goals in mind.
At the federal level, I think it was a little over a year ago now that there was a ban on purchasing residential property if you're not a resident of Canada. Has that affected things here in town?
That has not affected us. We have a very low number of international owners and purchasers in Canada. It's never been a big market for us.
And from the provincial side of things, I understand there's been some increases when it comes to land titles and the price of that. Is that having any effect right now?
That will probably affect some buyers. They have increased the registration fees for both a land transfer as well as mortgages being registered on title. The fees have more than doubled. So that is painful for some buyers, especially in Canmore where the price point's high. Having said that, It's still the lowest land registration fees in Canada. We have also successfully managed to avoid a land transfer tax, which is in many other provinces and can add up to many thousands of dollars. And we do not have that. So it's still positive, though painful for some buyers.
Understood. Jessica Stoner, local realtor, thanks for your insights here today. That was very informative.
Thanks so much for having me. That was great.